Hey guys, this is Rambos here with another replay, and this we have Kiss Dimaga versus Brat OK. And Dimaga, I believe, is Dimaga like the guy who came up with the Dimaga Baneling bust. So therefore my hero, and probably your hero too, if you play Zerg, and you enjoy just cracking open that Terran shell to get at the soft, meaty flesh inside and killing them. That is like the best thing ever. We can see that both of these players are like really good because they're spamming select on their workers and their APM is really high. Again, Brad OK is probably somebody famous. I just grabbed this replay off of the Team Liquid recent replays thread, so that's where I got it. If you want to know more about it, go check that out. And there's like 4 games between these guys, so it might be part of some tournament, or it might just be practice games, which is just an equal possibility because a lot of relatively well-known gamers play each other fairly recently, fairly frequently. Gosh, those words sound so similar in my head. For practice, because it's always just really good to play against players at or above your level for practice. We can see that Dimaga is going to go ahead and go for a relatively medium-ish or late pool. We will see momentarily what he's actually going for. He's got 14 drones right now. In the meantime, Brad OK is not going to wall with supply depots and barracks at his ramp, but he's actually going to go ahead and do something fancy at this choke. And again, Dimaga, at least to me, is known for inventing the Baneling break build, Baneling bust build, which he might be going for right now. This looks like the timing. So we will see what goes on with this. Brat OK is coming in, and he's going to scout this, and hopefully he will have some idea of what's going on. Dimaga coming in with the relatively early gas. So that could mean Banelings, like I said, that could mean roaches, that could just mean a relatively early lair. That gas is done, and Dimaga is throwing some drones on it. I really hope that's the right player, and there's not like a letter missing from the name, or this is just like some guy pretending to be him or something, because that would be really embarrassing. Brad OK is going to come around and get his orbital command nice and early, just really standard, just to enable him to pull ahead economically, and he's going to go ahead and start pumping out Marines from this first barracks. We will probably see a tech lab or something shortly. Now, he's not walling at his ramp, which is good, just because a lot of the time when you see people wall at the ramp, and Zerg have an opportunity to get Banelings, it's just so easy to push in. Brad's actually going to go ahead and throw down a command center. This looks like a variation of the Mara build. We're probably going to see several barracks come in right here, and Brad's just going to start pumping off of like 5 billion barracks. He's actually building a bunker right now, which is an interesting choice. I would... No, I'm going to play Terran, and I'm probably terrible, and this probably wouldn't work just because Zerglings eat Marines for breakfast, but I would really rather him see just... I would rather see him get a bunch of barracks just so he can get out more combat units than a bunker to make his few combat units live a little longer, just because he can kind of wall that off with barracks fairly easily if he just builds a couple more. And we can see that he, especially if it didn't have that bunker, he would have enough to build several barracks. We can see Ogre Affy leaving the game. Ogre Affy is a relatively well-known player. He's not like, Flash, but he's also not, oh my god, Dimaga going for a very early lair. He's not expanded, he's got 2 gas going on. So he's probably going for very fast Mutalisks. He does have Zergling speed coming up, so he's going to have, with those Mutalisks and with that Zergling speed, just perfect map control until Brat just gets a bunch of Vikings to take down Mutalisks, and whatever takes down Zerglings. Brat's actually going to go ahead and build another bunker, and he's got 2 barracks coming up in his main right now, and another orbital command coming up, so he's going to have a very nice economic advantage over Dimaga, just because Dimaga, I'm going to pop on over to the Harvesters tab, is trivially up right now, just because he's only running off 1 base, and he's able to use the money that he would have spent on a second base to pump more drones. But Brad's going to have double mules, and he's going to be able to pump. We can see that Dimaga is actually expanding to the 9 o'clock main, and this is important because this is really far away from Brat, so Brat has to cross the entirety of midfield, and Dimaga is going to have, I think, we haven't actually seen him get a spire yet, but he's going to have a bunch of speedlings and a bunch of Mutalisks, which are really fast and are going to allow Dimaga to control the entire middle of the map, which is going to be really cool. Brat's scouting probe just got taken down really quickly, and he did waste a scan to see what was inside of Dimaga's base, and Dimaga hadn't committed a tech choice yet. Very smartly, another observer leaving. And oh my gosh, Nidus Network coming up really early for Dimaga. Looks like he's just going to try to pump a bunch of speedlings to the back of Brat's base, and Brat really needs to scan or see this Nidus Network is coming up in a little bit of an out-of-the-way location, so he really needs to get an SCV up there, and some Banelings coming up for Dimaga as well, Baneling Nest coming up, rather. And an idle scan just going off just to see if there's any tech here. Dimaga is actually being amazingly brilliant, and he's pooping creep out of his overlord and then building the Nidus network way away from everything else. And he's got a bunch of speedlings just all ready to go here. And he does have an Overseer giving vision. These Overseers are relatively fast. They're very hard to kill with Marines, and they can actually take this little patch of high ground until Brat gets some sort of error. He's going to have to waste scans to see that Overseer, and that Overseer is going to have amazing vision. He's going to be able to allow that Nidus network to be placed anywhere. Baneling Nest still coming up for dimaga. Dimaga has finished that 9 o'clock expansion, so he is even on basis. And he does still have this Overlord tooling around Brat's base. Brat, in the meantime, is just continuing to produce Marauders and Marines. He's just got a bunch of infantry, and he doesn't really have that many. If we pop on over to the Units tab, we can see he's got, oh my god, he's got a lot. Never mind, he's got 11 Marines to 22 Zerglings. And Zerglings do really well against Marines when they can get off a surround. And if the Marines are in the bunkers, the Zerglings are going to do terribly. But the Nidus Worm, which is, oh my god, Nidus Worm coming up. Wow, that's really cool. I did not expect him to do that. Dimaga's just going to go ahead and grab the island expansion with this Nidus Worm. And unfortunately, that sound is going to tip off Brat to the fact that he has one. But I'm sure Brat's a decent player, and he would notice if like an Overlord came up there and was just kind of hanging out right here, and he would get ready for a Nidus thingy to come in and spit Zerglings all over his base. But we may still see that. The cooldown for this is up. Dimaga doesn't quite have enough resources. He's got 1 billion gas floating. He hasn't really been using the gas off of these 2 extractors, but he's actually thrown down a couple of Evo chambers for Carapace and something. We're going to see whether he commits to melee, to just getting 1 billion Zerglings, or if he goes and decides to get the range upgrade for the option of switching Roach Hydra later in a second. Again, I'll pop on over to the production tab. We can see the stim is coming up for Brat, and he's also getting a factory down. That factory is going to enable him to build 1 billion Hellions, which are going to just chew through Dimaga's army, all Dimaga really has right now. And we do see the Zerg missile weapons is coming up, so Dimaga is not going to commit to Zerglings. He's going to go ahead and get some Roaches and some Hydras. Not really sure what those Marines are shooting right there. Maybe there's a yeah, there's a changeling and I missed it. Okay. Brat, in the meantime, is just moving around his barracks. Got that little nice line going on. Players always just love having symmetry. Starport coming down for Brat. There's no anti-air for Dimaga. Dimaga just has queens, so this is going to be very, very important. If a single Banshee comes out, that's going to be able to kill that queen very quickly, and Dimaga's going to have to really scramble to get down some spores. It does have some Evo chambers, so you can build those relatively quickly. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world. A second Starport coming down for Brat, which means that he's really committing to this air choice. He does have 2 bases, so he has the option of getting 4 gases. He's got 3 right now, which is really going to help that. We actually have a Hydralisk going down for Dimaga. Dimaga's playing really, really passively right now. He's got Banelings, he's got a bunch of Speedlings, not 1 billion, but he's got several Speedlings, and he's got Nidus. So I was really hoping to see like 1 billion Nidus Banelings, and oh my gosh, Hellion getting a bunch of free Zergling kills. There's not quite enough Zerglings to deal with that. Zerglings are really good against Hellions when in roughly even, like 4 Zerglings will take out a Hellion really evenly, but when Hellions are supporting forces that cut through Zerglings like butter, we can see that Hellion was alone, and it did die almost to 2 Zerglings with no other support, and they cost 100. 2 Zerglings is like, what, 50? I swear to god, I know that I play Zerg. 2 Spinecrawlers up for Dimaga already at this base, but Brat was able to scout it, so Brat does finally know that Dimaga does have that expansion. In the meantime, Dimaga is getting Roach Speed, Hydra range. He's almost done with +1 Carapace and +1 ranged attacks, and he's also getting Infestation Pit, which is going to enable him to transition Broodlords later and get Infestors in the meantime. And oh my gosh, Banelings coming up. Banelings plus Infestors is bad, just because Infestors can freeze things in place, and then Banelings can just kind of pop around and kill them all, because they're awesome and they like kill everything. We do see that Infestation Pit is not yet finished, and in the meantime, Brat is actually pumping Banshees off of two Starports, both with Tech Labs. But Dimaga is hopefully going to have a couple of Hydras. Dimaga actually doesn't have any Hydras yet, but he does have the option of producing them, so he can just pump those out whenever it is necessary, and hopefully those Banshees won't do too much damage. And a scan going off for Brat right over his own forces. I guess he's worried about Changelings or Burrowed Banelings. He's playing against Dimaga, and again, if I have the right player, Dimaga is known for doing that sort of thing. And Burrowed Banelings, oh my gosh, Nidus Norn coming up for Dimaga. Where is this coming up? I can hear that, but I can't see it. Spacebar does not work for me. I'm terrible. Oh, yeah, just coming up at the 9 o'clock main. Not something that's too exciting, but very nice, because this Nidus Worm will enable Dimaga to just defend in another